Dakota, hello. Has it been 3 years already? Wow, time really does fly when you're having a good time. You went and blocked me after the last time we chatted, so I went and got myself a brand new phone number to text you with. What? Gracie? Huh? Why are you reacting to me texting you after such a long time like that? You think you, of all people, have the right to be asking me what my reaction was just then, after everything you did? What are you talking about? I'm talking about how you stole my husband from me and made us get a divorce. Oh, that did happen, didn't it? At the time, you were married to Jeff, right? Well, after I went and stole him from you, things became a little bit distant between him and I, so I threw him aside. So we no longer need to talk about that. From now on, I'd like to start my new relationship with a new man. And you need to do the same thing for yourself here soon, Dakota, right? Honestly, I don't really care what happened between you and Jeff anymore. And right now, the fact that you are texting me again after that event is frickin' vexing. What? Don't you start calling me annoying. Then don't even text me again, please. Goodbye. Wait! I have to tell you about who I'm going out with right now, and that's why I started to text you again. What do you think you're doing, leaving me before I even tell you what I have to say? I don't give a crap about whoever you're with now. Well, what if I told you I'm going out with your current husband now? What was that? My current husband, you say? Look at that. Now you seem to care. I knew you'd never be able to ignore me after saying that. No. Actually, after saying that, you've only gone and started to annoy me some more. Actually, it's been about 6 months now since I went and stole him from you. Your current husband is way more exciting than your first. He is far superior to that Jeff guy, and the way he acts around me is so gentlemanlike. We're just meant for one another. What? I'm single right now, though. Huh? Like I said, I'm single. No boyfriend, no fiancé, no husband. I'm not even having any fun with men right now. Ever since the divorce with Jeff happened, I haven't dated any men at all. There hasn't been anyone I've come to like that way. For the past 3 years, I've been completely free and have my own will again. Yet now you're back talking about how you're with my husband? Who are you even talking about right now? Oh, I see. I get it now. This is all too heartbreaking for you, isn't it? Just because you're feeling your gut tighten up with anxiety, it doesn't mean you can start to lie to me. Right now, I'm in a hotel with your husband, and we are getting it on. I know for a fact that you're lying, and it was all too easy for me to guess that. Hey, Gracie, I'm not joking around. I've seriously not gotten remarried since then. Then tell me, who is this man that I've been having so much fun with and letting do me raw all the time when we come out on these little nightly vacancies? You haven't given me a name or sent me a picture of him, so I have no clue who he is. Oh my god. So this is really devastating for you then, isn't it? And could it also be that since this is your second time losing a husband to me, your brain has become completely fried from the shock? Well, you need to get your memory back somehow, alright? Because it's no fun watching you just sit there saying you have no memory of who your husband is. The whole point of me stealing him from you is to watch you get all upset with me again and talk about wanting to off yourself and such. I think you are mentally screwed, Gracie. But it's just so much fun for me. Especially when watching an old friend like you have a mental breakdown. I'm sure you were aware back in high school and college how I'd go and steal the men you loved, right? Seriously, the fact that you are so mentally screwed is making me want to call the police. I might honestly do that. This whole thing about you saying that man is my husband and all now, and talking about how you're now having sex with him all the time, I think you need some real dang help. Huh? So you're still going to lie to me? I'm just telling you the truth, Gracie. I think you need to find out again who that man you're with is and whose husband he is, because I know 100% that he's not mine. He most likely has nothing to do with me in the first place. I told you already, he is your husband. That's what he keeps telling me. There's no way that I'm making a mistake here. Well, I have no idea who he could be then. And from what I can tell, this conversation is meaningless because you keep forcing it to go on a loop. Bye. Huh? What the heck? I'm going to bust that lying thick skull of yours right open. I'll show you.
Dakota, this is Jeff. Long time no see. I'm only texting you because I have something I'd like to ask. Is that alright?
What? The only reason I haven't already blocked you yet is because you're still working on paying off the settlement I'd asked for 3 years ago. You understand that very clearly, right?
I know. Look, I totally agree that I'm not in the position to be texting you like this. But for my own sake, I have something I want to check with you about.
Well then, make it fast.
Thank you. Did you get remarried? No, I totally understand that you don't want someone like me asking you a personal question like that, but this is about Gracie.
Gracie?
Well, I'm not sure why she was doing this in the first place, and if she meant it as a form of messing around with me, but yesterday she had messaged me. She was going on about how she had stolen her husband from you again, and this new man is far better than me. Well, I kind of understood what was wrong with that woman back when she ran away from me, and since then I haven't really had any desire to want to talk with her again.
So Gracie is still going on about how she's stolen my supposed husband?
What?
About 3 months ago or so, she was telling me the exact same thing, about how she had stolen my husband. None of it made any sense at all to me, so I just stopped texting her and left it. Were you able to hear from her at all who the man is that she's with and calling my husband?
Yeah. He was working at the same company as me before, and his name is Titus. Though he was never that great of a worker in the company, so I don't ever remember much about him besides his face.
I see. I have no memory of a Titus.
Oh, so this means you haven't gotten remarried yet?
That's right. There is no husband.
And how about thoughts about you and I getting back together?
Shut the hell up, Jeff.
What I thought. Sorry for asking. I won't say anything else.
However, thank you for letting me know about this. I happen to have a friend still working at the company you were at before, so when I have some time, I'll ask them to look into this Titus guy for me.
Well, if there's anything you need help with, let me know. Of course, after what happened 3 years ago, I'm sure you don't want me around.
That's right. But if you hear anything from Gracie, let me know about it.
Sounds good.
Dakota, I've really gone and done it this time. And this time, you can no longer even try getting away with lying about not having a husband right now. That's because your husband got me pregnant. Well, actually, I already knew I was pregnant a little while back. It's been around 6 months now since I first found out, but I wanted to wait until my belly started to get a bit bigger before telling you. At this point, I have no choice but to have the baby for him, and that will force you to have to divorce him, right? Oh my god, life is always filled with the unexpected. At first, I was just planning on taking your husband from you for however long things could last before I got bored, and then toss him aside as well. But this guy is the most amazing man I have ever been with. He has the best features, and his face is perfect for me. And above all that, me getting married to the man I stole from you would be a good send-off before your trip into a deep depression, right? When he told me that he wanted to marry me so much that he'd make me pregnant with his kid, I was over the moon with joy. From that moment on, he and I have felt even more close to one another. And after a few weeks at a hotel nearby, I became pregnant. Hey, how about you respond to me now? I get that this is all terribly heartbreaking for you, but there's no point in you lying to me anymore about being single. All right, hurry up and get that divorce for me now. Hey, Dakota, I've seen that you read my text from yesterday. But the fact that you still haven't replied to me tells me there is something wrong with your head. I'm about to have a baby here soon, and you are holding up the process for my man and I. You have to divorce him now. Hi, Gracie. What perfect timing. I was just thinking about getting back to you. Well, so you're finally going to agree to divorce your husband for me? No, because like I've said plenty of times now, I'm single. Huh? You are still trying to fight me on this? Just stop talking for a second, all right? I have something I need to check with you about now, Gracie, and it is very, very important. What? Gracie, have you ever been stalked by someone before? What? Stalked by someone? I'm talking about the time between you leaving Jeff and now. Yes. There have been a few times now, actually. But after I went and gave him a little action, he left me alone for good. What? You and that stalker? I've done things like that before in the past to get men to leave me alone, so I did the same thing with him, and after he was happy, he left me alone. That's right. This last time, he was a total turnoff. His looks were awful, and that face was like that of an alien. Yet he still thought he could get with me. Well, I knew that as long as I pleased him that one time, he'd leave me alone forever. So I slept with him for 2 hours that day. But I do have to say, that did leave me with a little bit of trauma. I told myself that once I had finished up with that stalker, I would never ever do anything with an ugly man again. Did you get the name of that stalker or any other identification? We were only together one time, so I had no reason to ask for his name. Then, what would happen if that man you called ugly back then went and got plastic surgery and then showed back up in your face again? What? Plastic surgery? And what if he told you he wanted to have a serious relationship now, or wanted to marry you and everything? What? I would never bother with him. Naturally, he's ugly, so no matter what he does to change his appearance, I would never want to have a relationship. By the way, why are we talking about this right now? I see. So you still don't get it then, do you? That's why I'm wondering what's going on here. That whole story with that stalker is over now, and I fixed the problem I had. No, you didn't. You might think you fixed that problem. But while you've been completely oblivious to it, that man has been moving along with a very dark plan that he made up. What are you talking about? What dark plan? That stalker of yours that I just mentioned, the one that got plastic surgery and everything? Well, he got you to think that he was married to me, and his name is Titus. Huh? You know how Jeff and Titus used to work together back at Jeff's old company? Well, I happen to have a friend still working at that company, and so they went and talked with Titus about a few things while out drinking. The reason he first started to stalk you was because back in the day you were waiting for Jeff outside the office and Titus saw you and immediately fell in love. What? After that, he learned about how you and Jeff broke up, and that's what turned him into your stalker. And after some time, you went and had that 2-hour pleasure time with him, and that only strengthened his desire for you further. So in order to become the man you dreamed of having, he went online and started searching for all the men you follow on social media, as well as learned about how you had always been stealing my significant others away from me. He changed his face to match the faces of those men you liked so much, and changed his backstory to sound like he had become my next husband. This then led to you falling for him immediately, and he then was able to get you pregnant with his kid. And now, here we are. What? What if I told you that everything you've been a part of with that man has all been part of your stalker's plan? What? In order to go through all that plastic surgery, Titus used up all of his savings. And then in order to take you out to those hotels all the time, he started to borrow money. So he's in debt? And don't forget that he went and changed his whole appearance for you, so everyone at the office talks about what happened to him all the time. He went and got rid of his former self, all in order to force his way into your life. You should be more accepting of his strong desire to be with you over any other woman on this planet. No! How could I ever marry an ugly man like that? How could I ever be able to give birth to that ugly man's child? No! This is what you wanted. I didn't know all of that happened, though. Help me, Dakota. Why should I? Because he's your husband! That's right. He is my husband, isn't he? Just like how the sun is the color pink. And how rocks are mammals. Let me come hide at your place. I'm coming to your house right now. If you're talking about my parents' house, that place is no longer standing. It was demolished years ago, and there's a new house there. Huh? It's not there anymore? My older brother and his wife took that land and built their new house on it, so I moved out of town and am living somewhere completely different. So don't even bother with me, Gracie. What? And if you'd like to know, your parents' house is also gone now. Huh? Because of what you did 3 years ago, your parents both disowned you, right? They couldn't risk you trying to come back to them after that, and so they both decided to sell their house and move away from here for good. I'm not sure where they moved to, though. I'm sure you could go out and try looking for them, but that would be a hard thing to do when you're going to have a baby soon and a husband. No way! Then, what am I supposed to do? There's only one thing left you can do. What is that? Marry Titus and become his childbearing wife, right? What? Your last name would be Dingerfell, right? Gracie Dingerfell. That sounds pretty great to me. No! Help me, Dakota! There's nothing I can do for you. Nothing I'd want to do for you, to be honest. No! Goodbye forever, Gracie. I know that I told her I couldn't do anything for her, but I had actually gotten Gracie's mother's phone number a while back. And she had just texted me asking how Gracie was doing since we started talking again, and I told her her daughter was just fine. In the end, Gracie got married to Titus, although they didn't have a wedding for their marriage or anything like that, because Titus didn't have any money left and Gracie was going into labor. And so right after their visit to the courthouse to get married, she gave birth to their baby. Gracie was not a fan of her baby because the moment it came out of her, she could see that it resembled the natural version of Titus, which she called ugly. But there was nothing she could do about her baby at that point, so she just began bawling her eyes out over her new life, which had just begun. And because Gracie no longer had a single person to rely on for help, she was forced to work with Titus's family, who were all monsters of their own. Apparently his mother was also looking forward to having a daughter-in-law, all with the hopes of making them her slave. And so, after having her baby, Gracie was subjected to a lot of terrible moments with her mother-in-law, which started with her having to move in with Titus's parents because, once again, they didn't have any money to go anywhere otherwise. Titus's mother also blamed Gracie for him getting into debt and forced her to start working in order to pay his debt off for him. And not too long after all that started, Titus's mother told them she didn't want a grandchild anymore. And so she had Gracie's parents come and take that baby away. And, well, Titus was totally okay with her decision to do that with his baby, and even told Gracie that it was the right decision, because he couldn't handle all the baby's crying. By this point, though, Gracie was already pretty much dead inside, so losing her own baby to her parents, who both cut ties to her, didn't even faze her. Well, that's at least what everyone thinks when looking into her now soulless eyes. Anyway, that baby hasn't done anything wrong to deserve to grow up in a terrible household such as that, so I'm completely fine with the outcome there. And that means I can finally relax and forget about Gracie for good.